Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, bringing you all the latest news in pro wrestling. Coming up, we got a big backstage report of WWE not being too happy with AEW, a big SmackDown debut getting cancelled this week. It looks like we know a big reason up to why SmackDown has been a bit more enjoyable. A top WWE superstar might be turning babyface, and we also got the roundup of everything that happened on SmackDown. So you guys know what to do. Make sure to have those notifications turned on. If you want even more wrestling content, consider subscribing to both of the channel, and let's dive right into it. Starting off with some of the latest news coming out of SmackDown. As we know, plans in the WWE usually change a lot even on the day of, and it looks like they ended up canceling Mia Yim's aka Reckoning Friday Night SmackDown debut this week. WWE broke up Retribution during the kickoff show before Fastlane, with all of the members attacking Ali. Right now we have T-Bar and Retribution unmasked, trying to make a name for themselves on Monday Night Raw. And something that we learned weeks ago is that Slapjack and Reckoning were sent over to the SmackDown brand. So Retribution is no more. They pretty much spread all over the place right now. And someone who we have been waiting to see the debut, and of course big addition to the women's division, is Mia Yim. We don't know if she's gonna go by Mia Yim or even Reckoning. Hopefully she just goes back to being Mia Yim. Nonetheless, Ringside News has learned that she was backstage this week on SmackDown and she was ready to debut. She was supposed to appear on last night's show, but it got pushed to another week. WWE had to work things out this week with short-handed stuff backstage, which we will discuss in a bit. So that seems to be one of the main reasons why her scheduled debut has been put on hold. Talking about those backstage changes for SmackDown, reports indicate that Bruce Prichard alongside other WWE officials and backstage were not backstage, leading to Dave Kapoor from NXT being called off for this week to help out Triple H with this week's SmackDown. Triple H seems to be a constant on SmackDown now, which could be one of the good reasons up to why SmackDown has been watchable and the most enjoyable WWE show. They indicated that Triple H has been backstage helping out a lot, and that is now becoming a weekly thing for him. Ringside News reports indicate that Triple H has been helping with certain parts of the show, but he does so discreetly, and it looks like he is helping a lot. He is said to be receiving a fair amount of praises for his contributions as well, and overall this is good news for SmackDown. And here's a crazy thought: why don't we just have Triple H on that Monday show too? Give him a little bit more power over there, or maybe he has it and it's just a Monday Night Raw thing that it's just impossible to fix that show. Hopefully we get to see some improvement. Onto some other reports, we got some big news regarding SummerSlam, as WWE is looking at that pay-per-view as being the next big event for a few different reasons. It's considered to be among WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, and Survivor Series, the big four as we already know, but also because WWE is expecting to have fans in attendance for this year's event, much like they did for WrestleMania. The belief for the past few months has been that WWE will resume touring again after SummerSlam, with fans attending TV and pay-per-view events going forward. The hope is that the majority of the country will be vaccinated by then. So WWE is looking at SummerSlam to be a big reset and the start of everything being back to normal. WrestleVotes indicated the following: WWE is looking to have SummerSlam be the official kickoff as they return to touring. With that said, if things work out a certain way, the pay-per-view might be even earlier than usual this year. I have heard that 3 to 4 locations are on the table, with one having better odds than the others. That likely location could end up being Boston, considering that that was where we were supposed to get SummerSlam last year, and they are certainly due for a big pay-per-view. Onto some more backstage news, we got WWE going at it at AEW, and we got AEW coming back at it at WWE over the last couple of days, especially after AEW's special episode this week. week. Ringside News ended up indicating that AEW's Blood and Guts match was a huge topic of discussion this week within WWE, but not for a good reason. They were told that most Backstage considered the match as it being too barbaric with all the blood that took place. Apparently, somebody on the creative team even described this match as it being a bad image for the industry, especially with the obvious blading. And they even indicating that Chris Jericho wants to be Shane McMahon after that big spot that we ended up seeing at the end of the show. This all to me sounds a bit too ridiculous, and clearly this creative member or whoever it is that's talking like this in WWE is just a bit cynical right now, because just look at how many War Games match WWE has done over the last 5 years. And instead of worrying what AEW is doing, what they're botching at the end of their show every time, how about WWE just worry about fixing a bit of Monday Night Raw right now, please? Because it just destroys the week that the Monday show, instead of starting things hot, makes us hate the rest of the week. And if you look at it, if anybody was gonna hate on the match, they should have hate on the finish of it, and not even where Chris Jericho landed, but instead the camera angles that they decided to use. That was really the only bad thing about that match. Everything else was great, and it did live up to the expectations. Taking it back to last night, the throwback edition of SmackDown, a throwback that was all over the place. We got the 80s graphics with the CGI fist for a couple of seconds. Teddy Long from the late 2000s, Michael Cole going back to the No Mercy attire. At least the referee ended up wearing the old blue SmackDown referee shirts. But I just can't believe that WWE didn't even do the right ring setup. If you were gonna do something, you could at least done that. Take off the LED ring post and the apron, and again, at least I'll go back to the older ropes and so on. It was weird. I'm not too sure what they were trying to accomplish. Nonetheless, at least Teddy Long was here tonight making a couple of matches. Talking about one of those matches was Cesaro versus Seth Rollins to start off the night, and we had some very interesting interaction during this one. So Roman Reigns kicked off the show. We get Jimmy Uso making a return and joining him for the time being, at least. Cesaro interrupts because he got to get ready for that Seth Rollins match that he got. He gets attacked by Seth Rollins, and it all leads to the stipulation. Come to think about it, this match was already advertised, so Teddy Long didn't make it, but he did add a stipulation that if Cesaro wins, he will get a Universal Championship match, which he did. But the interesting part about all of this is that WWE was kind of teasing a face turn for Seth Rollins throughout the night. First off was during the match, as he continued to tell Jimmy and Jey Uso, who was hanging out by the ringside, to don't get involved in the match because he doesn't need their help like Roman Reigns. He kept mentioning that, letting them know that he wants to be Cesaro by himself. Jimmy and Jey obviously didn't listen, which led to a big interaction between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns in the backstage. And I'm hoping that this is already teasing a potential maybe SummerSlam match. We need a big match for that pay-per-view. WWE is gonna need a massive babyface to go against Roman Reigns. Maybe Seth Rollins is the one to turn back as babyface after all the teases that we got to see tonight. Seth Rollins' interaction with Roman Reigns was like, listen, I don't want to get into your business, but they screwed up. I told them I didn't need their help, and they messed up. I lost that match because of them. So it really feels like WWE is already teasing all of this of Seth Rollins going against the Tribal Chief, especially Jimmy and Jey Uso for the time being. Should be interesting to see how it turns out. After Cesaro defeating Seth Rollins, we got Carmella defeating Ruby Riott in one-on-one competition. We had the SmackDown Women's Champion Bianca Belair and Bayley going at it, brawling it out for a bit and hyping up the WrestleMania Backlash match. We had Dominic Mysterio defeating Dolph Ziggler in one-on-one competition. Tamina defeated Reginald, but it was by disqualification. So the women's division ended up having like a solid 4 minutes this week. Good job, WWE. And yes, Reginald is athletic, but why are you putting him against a match with Tamina and the likes of Sasha Banks and so on over the last couple of months if it doesn't turn out to be an actual match? WWE continue to book intergender matches, and they don't give us intergender matches. It's just a face-up between one or the other and Reginald doing a couple of flips, and that's it. We had King Corbin, Intercontinental Champion, Apollo Crews, Sami Zayn, Otis, and Chad Gable winning a 10-man tag team match. match against birthday boy Kevin Owens, Big E, Shinsuke Nakamura, and the Street Profit. And then for the main event, we got the Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns segment, in which Roman Reigns tried to get Jimmy Uso on his side, as Jimmy Uso is not really complying right now. He doesn't want to be like his brother. He doesn't want to be his you-know-what to Roman Reigns, because he's better than that. Even though he hugged it out at the beginning of the show with Reigns, he's not here to quote-unquote fall in line. Jimmy wants Jey Uso so that they could be a tag team, and Roman obviously wants both of them so that they could fall in line. So Jey is in a bad position between the tribal chief and his brother. In the end, Jimmy walks out. Cesaro then comes in and attacked Roman Reigns and also Jey Uso, which leads to Jimmy Uso attacking Cesaro, but Cesaro making a comeback and laid waste to the three of them. So the power struggle between Roman Reigns and his cousins still remains, and for the time being, Cesaro was the one getting the last laugh. A very enjoyable SmackDown. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoy or found it informative, don't forget to elbow drop it and hit those notifications to continue being up to date. I'll catch you on the next one, so stay savage.